Hey everyone, welcome to the Rebellious Garden. I'm so glad to have you here today. I'm getting ready to head out to plant some more tulips out in the garden, and I wanted to chat with you real quick. Hold on. Drop those down real quick. So we are expecting our first freeze tonight. So our average first frost day is October 30th, 31st for Zone 8A here in eastern North Carolina. And it is now, hair in my mouth, sorry. It is now November the 14th, and we are slated to get our first freeze tonight. So I think we've done good going 2 weeks past our average date. And that's all it is an average. Our freeze can come before and after that date. Last year it came right on the date. So I'm not complaining about having an extra 2 weeks. It has been nice. And the funny thing is I need to redo my hair. The funny thing is we're supposed to get below freezing the next 2 nights, and then our daytime highs are supposed to jump back up into the low 70s with our overnight lows in the upper 40s, low 50s for a few more days. And then it looks like, at least in the extended forecast for the next 2 weeks, it's going to go back and forth between the nice mild days and then the cold days, the bone chilling days. I am not built for cold weather. I do not like cold weather, but it's something that is a must in our area, and definitely a must for some of these beautiful flowers to grow. So I'm only going to complain so much about it. But today I wanted to share with you some things that we are doing to prepare our gardens for the freeze. So you can see here that we have row covers over anything that is sensitive to frost. And in all honesty, most of these items are hardy to frost and just light freezes, which is what we're gonna have. Oh, I got stuck. But just as an extra precaution, and hopefully to help them to last a little bit longer, we have covered them up. Of course, the wind has come across, and like these are collards. The freezes don't bother them whatsoever, but I still cover them just for extra good measure. Plus, on the warmer days, it helps to protect them a little bit more from our like bugs and stuff like that. Carrots, once again, they kind of go dormant when the temperatures get really cold, and then they start back growing in the springtime, but they're not really affected by the freezing temperatures. As a matter of fact, you can store carrots. You can leave them in the dirt, like take the tops off and leave them in the dirt for storage over the winter months if you want to. I was just checking them, see if I had any ready. I have some that are small. These are small ones. Those are my ox hearts. Not quite big enough to harvest yet, but oh well. I'm gonna just pull this back over. Again, I've got collards planted all over the place. Collards are a big thing here in the South. Shake this off. So we are growing more collards this year than what we normally do. Sorry, I had a squirrel moment. Side note on the flower side of things, carrots, get on a white backdrop, there we go. The greenery of carrots make an excellent filler in flower bouquets. So last year when I first started making the first bouquets of the season, I used some of the greenery from carrots as fillers, and it looked absolutely beautiful. So just something to think in mind. This would be a dual purpose item for your garden, where you get food from your carrot itself, and then you can also use the greenery as a flower filler. Just a squirrel moment. But cover these back up because the wind has blown them off. I need to do a little bit better. So we thought we were going to get a frost about a week ago. Temperatures were getting in that kind of a what we call the squirrely stage of it, where it could or it couldn't. There's always that possibility depending upon the wind. And so we went ahead and actually threw these row covers up, so it made this a lot easier. But like I said, most everything in this garden is tolerant to the frost. It's not going to bother it whatsoever. You see collards growing most of the winter months down here because for the most part we do have fairly mild winters. So I'm not good at multitasking, talking and doing stuff like that. That's why you keep hearing me pause. So something else that we have done is we still have tomato plants everywhere. We've still been harvesting tomatoes on the regular. So what I have done is I have gone through to where all of our tomato plants are, like I have one right here, and I have pulled all of my not ripe, but all of my green tomatoes off of it. Those are really tiny, but see, I forgot one. I'm gonna say it was intentional, but I have gone through to all of my tomato plants and I have pulled the tomatoes off of them, whether they are ripe or not. Yes, I pulled the green ones off, and I'm gonna put this right here in my pocket with my carrot. What I do with these tomatoes is I'm gonna take them inside the house and put them in a box, and I'm gonna leave the lid open, but I'm gonna put them in a box and I'm going to let them just sit there and ripen. I've been doing that over the past couple weeks, especially ones that the pests have really been taking a liking to. I've just been picking them and taking them in the house. That way they can ripen without the pests getting to them. So that's something that you can do, because tomato plants, they do not tolerate frost whatsoever. I'm gonna lose all of my tomato plants tonight, I'm pretty sure, unless something happens that keeps some of them from getting hit by that those freezing temperatures and frost, which I don't think there will, because I don't have any of them covered. And at this point, they've slowed down production so much, I'm not too terribly worried about keeping them going. It's time to put them all in the compost or burn them, the ones that are diseased, like this one is dying, and just get them out of the garden so I can prep the beds for the next season. So these guys will be no more after tonight. Some of them are already starting to die off. Some of them are hanging on. Another thing you just saw me doing, I gotta set my friend up here. Hey buddy. Another thing you just saw me doing was, it's got a bug hole in it. I am going around to my sugar peas. Sugar peas are frost tolerant. They should be fine. Last year, these went through several frost and freezes before they started showing any type of damage. But I'm just going through these, and I am picking the pods off of them, because we're going to make a salad tonight, and those are super tasty on a salad. Just looking around to see if I missed any. But I'm just going to pick the pods off of them, take them inside, and we'll have that with our supper. Like I said, these guys are pretty frost tolerant, so they won't be affected tonight. I think last year it was nearly New Year's. It was right at New Year's when we finally got cold enough, and it stayed cold enough for a long period of time for my peas to go, okay, we're done, we can't do this anymore. So these guys will be fine. I don't need to do anything to protect them. I'm just coming through and picking some of these pods off. So my tomatoes have been picked. I'm going to lose the plants tonight. I'm not heartbroken over it. They've been good to us this season. They have been abundantly good to us. And then our sugar peas, they'll be fine. I have everything else covered up, which all of these are cool flowers. These are all veggies and stuff. They'll be fine out here. They'll be perfectly fine. My dahlias, I'll lose them tonight as well, which is perfectly fine, because I'm going to dig up the tubers, and that is something that we have to do anyway, because they're not hardy to areas where it could freeze, and that's what it'll do tonight. The freezing temps will kill these. I'll let them sit for a day or two, then I'll cut the greenery back and I'll dig the dahlia tubers up, and I'll store them for next year for planting. So that's no big deal. Radish, pretty tolerant to freezing temperatures as well, at least lightly freezing. You don't want to get any hard freezes on these guys, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull these just for a salad. Ooh, that one is big. Check that out. That one is too. Yay. I've got calendula growing here and a few other things. Holy cannolis. So I'll leave the rest of these in here. Pull these up, radish are cool weather crops, so they'll be fine. Have garlic planted here. Have onions, that's what those little green sprouts are. I have onions planted there. They'll be fine. They'll do perfectly fine in this cooler weather. They actually grow roots during the time, very much like flowers do, so don't have to worry too much about it. Tulips, don't have to do anything to them. Tulips actually need tulips, and a lot of your fall planted bulbs for this area need the cool weather, the cool soil to trigger them to actually make their flowers and stuff. So this will be fine. My ranunculus are right there. They are covered up. While ranunculus are frost hardy, frost tolerant, they thrive in temperatures around the 50-55 degree mark. So we just put that row cover on it just to give it, and it's just frost cloth. It's I think it's AG19, Agribon AG19, I think is it. I don't know. Yeah, I'll double check. But we just do that for just an added layer of protection. So if we do get a hard freeze and it's a consecutive nights, it'll just be an extra layer of protection for those plants. Same story over here on the side of the house. A lot of the tomato plants have started dying off. What still had fruit on it, I have picked. And all of these, which is broccoli and cauliflower, and I think a few Brussels sprouts, they're covered up. They'll be fine. They do well with frost, but I just give that for an extra layer of protection so they'll keep growing. And I'll finish losing those tomato plants as well. Now, as far as my salad tower, which is my green stalk, everything in here should be fine. The arugula, the lettuce, and the kale, all frost tolerant, so they will be perfectly fine in here. When we start getting those freezing temperatures, I'll probably come throw a sheet over it just to give it a little bit of added protection. But we kept kale all winter long last year. The lettuce did eventually give up, but we kept the kale all year long. We ate off of it all year long, and then it exploded with new growth when the spring came. You have a radish. You have a radish hanging out, sorry. As far as my strawberries, I'll pick the fruits off of it. We're gonna have a light frost. They should be fine. This is my first year really growing strawberries, so I've got to educate myself a little bit more on how to protect them. However, I know a lot of people just leave their strawberry plants out like this, and then when they're going to get like hard freezes and stuff, they cover them up. So I'm going to educate myself a little bit more on what to do about my strawberries, especially being in a green stalk. My basil, at least what's left of it, might come out and take some cuttings to grow over winter, but I'll probably take one of these basil plants and put them underneath the carport where they won't get hit with frost and killed, but anything left out will die. Come underneath the carport, get the wind off of me. It's pretty cold. I have a little avocado tree growing, and I will bring that inside because they do not tolerate cold air. So I'm gonna bring that inside and keep it in pretty much the rest of the winter. We'll keep it close to a window so it'll get natural light. I don't know how it'll do, but we'll keep an eye on it as it grows. Hopefully it'll keep growing during the winter. My seedlings that I have outside, I'm going to transplant out my ranunculus, the rest of them today, and then my seedling trays, because the temperatures are going to get below freezing, I'm going to take them inside. That way the moisture in the trays don't have a chance of freezing. I don't think they will, because it's only supposed to be down below freezing for about an hour or two, but I don't want to take a chance. So dryer's done. So I'm going to take those inside and just give them a little warmth overnight. I actually might stick them in our laundry room because it's outside, but it stays a little bit warmer than being outside in the elements like these are. So that way maybe it won't be a drastic climate change for them. Well, there you go. Those are just some of the things we've been doing around here to prepare for our first freeze of the season. According to the Farmer's Almanac, we're supposed to have a fairly mild winter compared to normal. So I'm happy about that because last year it was bitter cold and I did not enjoy it one bit, but we take what we get. We are blessed with mild winters compared to other areas of the country, so I am not complaining one bit on that. But just wanted to show you what we were doing around the house today to prepare our gardens, our flowers, our veggies, all that good stuff for the winter coming. Pretty much just covering things up, taking things inside that are not frost tolerant, and covering everything else up just for that added layer of protection. I hope this helps you preparing your gardens for your first freeze if you haven't already received one. And I thank you so much. I hope all of your plants do well over this winter. And here is warm, happy thoughts for the upcoming spring. Have a blessed day. Come back to see me again.